Oh my God, man. Oh my goodness, the gift that keeps giving just keeps on giving, doesn't it? Oh my goodness, look at the state of that. That has to be the most embarrassing thing that I've ever seen. But then again, it's just unbelievable. Oh my goodness. I can't take it. Please make them stop, make them go away, make them go away. Um, oh my goodness, that has to be the most embarrassing thing that you've ever seen in Scottish football. And yeah, the highlights of some teams is beating St Johnstone in the first round of the cup, and then they decide to do the huddle. Yeah, they decide to do a huddle in front of their fans, and it's got to be said, the fans that they're doing them in front of, yes, these fans up here are an absolute shower of shite. They fans yesterday attacked a woman. Yes, they attacked a woman. They attacked a woman outside the National Stadium to steal a drum. That's right, viewers. They stole. They basically they attacked a woman carrying. They attacked the fans liaison officer of St Johnstone, who was by herself and carried the St Johnstone Ultras drum into the stadium. This is why Celtic were correct in not accepting any tickets and not giving them any tickets for the first game at Celtic Park because they can't assure the safety of anybody when it is at Hampden. And it just goes to show that they can run up and attack a woman and steal the drum off a woman that's walking into the ground, a woman that's doing her job, a woman that is paid by the club to look after fans, and they attacked her. Pure and utter scum. And there is pictures of the two guys that did it on social media, and let's see if they get caught. The fact that those two guys were probably in beside the Ultras yesterday, cheering on their little team, from the Govan end of Glasgow, and I think it is just completely disgusting what they did, and they are just Scotland's shame. They are just Scotland's shame. Anyway, let's jump into the comments before we get on to the Celtic talk of the day. Game day. Yes, it is game day. We'll get into that in a minute. John O'Brien was first up. Mick Celtic says he should be at the game today, but he's missing it due to work. Roger's interview said he's not a Hun. He doesn't like Hun media. Yeah, he does not. 167 Tara says, How did we manage to keep hold of Larson for 7 years when he was probably the world's best striker over that period? He could have went for tens of millions, shitload back then. He was actually Man United made an offer of, I think it was 15 million, 10 to 15 million. I can't remember the exact amount. But Fergie wanted him, but he wanted to stay at Celtic. He wanted to repay Celtic for everything that they'd done to him during his career. And that's why Celtic let him go for nothing when they did, when he left. Anyway, Jim F says good morning, John and Mick. He said good morning to them. Carly's in the house. Chance before the game. Jim F says morning to Carly. Ray's in the house. Richard's in the house. Afternoon from Vietnam. Ray, you asked what the stats were for Vietnam, and I'll give you that on the next update. I'll just do it monthly, but I'll give you the full stats on where Vietnam lie on the stats and see how long you actually watch the video and how many views we get from Vietnam. Because there's bound to be a win of Celtic supporters. How embarrassing was that celebration yesterday? Yes, it was completely embarrassing, and we showed enough of it at the start. Who really cares about them? Focus on ourselves, says Lanky. This is true, but when we talk about that does, and sorry, Lanky, but that does affect Celtic. If they can't make sure that our fans are safe when travelling in that game, if the fans liaison officer of another team gets attacked in broad daylight, it has an effect on Celtic, and that's why Celtic were right to make sure that they could not make sure that the safety of Celtic fans was paramount. And we've all known what's happened at Hampden before. We've seen it at Hampden before with the Ultras before games sneaking round. So for me, it's got everything to do with Celtic. Ray Ray says, cheers, mate. Thank you for that. Scott says, Hellbaz for the land of Glasgow, which are the Super Hoops then offshore. Davy's in the house. He's going for 5-0 today. He's going for 5-0 today. Ooh, that's a scoreline and a half. You've got to remember, this time last year, we played Kilmarnock. Do not take anything for granted today. The second half of the game last week was enough evidence for me that they're going to have a go today. They've nothing to lose today. They don't need to sit back and not get defeated, and it's not going to cost them league points and positions. It's a one-off game. They have to go for it because they know if they don't go for it, they're out the cup, and they will not want to go out the cup the exact same time as their Edinburgh neighbours, will they? They will not. They will want the bragging rights. And if they get the bragging rights for putting Celtic out even more, they'll get even more joy out of making sure that Hearts know that they are out the cup. So do not expect this to be an easy game. People saying 5-0, I think that you're way off the mark today. It's a cup game. If they open up, yes, but the way that they played Celtic the second half last week was enough to say to me, do you know, we got lucky the first half. We dominated the first half. We imposed our style of play. But the second half, Hibs went, wait a minute. This team is not as good. But when you look at the bench isn't that strong, and there's nobody we really fear. So man up, and Hibs give us a game second half. So anyway, jump back into the comments. Lanky, I don't care about them. I know your enemy. Yeah, I care about know your enemy. Exactly, Carly. Stephen Johnson is going for 4-0. Big up Stephen's going for 4-0. Celtic 88. Baz, it's right that Celtic, you kind of call it out. Exactly. You've got to call out attacking women. You can't let that. The Scottish media will sweep that under the carpet. The Scottish media will sweep it under the carpet. So, we have to get it out there. And I'm probably going to show the faces of the guys that done it on another video. Richard's going for 4-1. DB Boy says, Wee Hun at Hearts is getting the sack. I don't care if he's getting the sack. Keep him for as long as possible. Keep him for as long. John O'Brien says 3-0 for me. 2 the second half. Second half, 2 goals chopped offside. Lanky's going for 3-1. I went for 4-1 the last game. I think it's going to be a lot tighter in this game. Boy from any offer going at us will leave gaps at the back. Hopefully Maida is on the pitch and will ruin them if they leave gaps. I think they will leave gaps. I think that'll open up for Adam Ida. I think Dyson will start this game. It'll be interesting to see what, if any, other changes he does make. Joseph Docherty is going for 6-0 or 6-1. Coming in from Little Island. Kevin says, hi from Thailand, Baz. I say that's meant to be Thailand. There we go. Another one coming in from Thailand. Forrest and Ida. Ida double to make it 3-0, says John. Annie Mac, Anne Marie McNulty says, Morning Baz from a wet Glasgow. It is sunny here. Carly says, I'd like you to stay on top with Stephen Johnson, give us a thumb down. He didn't mean it. He means a thumbs up. Sarah, what happened with attacking a woman? What have I missed? Right. Basically, yesterday before the game, the St Johnstone fans liaison officer was carrying the St Johnstone Ultras fans drum into the ground. She was attacked by a group of Union Bears, attacking a woman on her own to steal the drum off her. And some will say, it's fucking drum, it's fair. It's not fair game. It needs to be called out. If it was anyone else, it'd be called out as what it is. But attacking a woman, a group of men, grown men, attacking a woman in broad daylight to steal a drum. And I'm calling it out for what it is. And it's scum. It's the scummiest thing on the earth to do. But they'll see it as an Ultras fucking, we stole their drum. Yeah, you also stood on the ground, an empty ground, and you give your team a standing ovation. That team that was pumped out the Champions League, then went on the pitch to do this. They went. Now you remember the scenes when Celtic won the Scottish Cup. They look at them. Look at that is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. And what makes it even more embarrassing is the couple of clowns that are going to get arrested. And what makes it even more funny that a couple of the guys that are standing in that crowd are going to get arrested for, hopefully, for attacking the women. Hopefully, she makes a good enough complaint. But these scenes yesterday at Hampden, when you look back to when Celtic won the Scottish Cup, when Celtic won, I mean, look at big fucking Gormless there. We need to go and celebrate with the fans. All right. And then the best bit is Mr. Bigoted himself. At the end, he's giving them. It's just hilarious. It has to be the funniest thing. I mean, when you put it into perspective, when Brendan Rodgers won the Scottish Cup, they stood in a line on the pitch. Yes, on the grass. On the pitch. There was about 3 lines of stewards and cops, and there was a full end of Celtic fans. Yes, the best part of 20 plus thousand Celtic fans stayed after the game. This was a first round win in the League Cup. You would think they'd just won the Champions League. They got pumped out the Champions League. Celebrating in front of a big fan base isn't for everyone, isn't it? Celebrating during COVID season. I bet they've done that during the COVID season. I bet they went up and started celebrating. I mean, to me, that is just an embarrassment. And that the biggest embarrassment is obviously then the fact that, well, before the game, everyone knows what happens. Anyway, there's breaking news last night when it comes to Celtic transfers. Let's get down to business. Yes, let's get down to business. Disgusting paper. Typical Hornsey. Like Ross Anglia Ayrshire says, if that was the Green Brigade that had done that, it'd be all over the front page of the papers. Silence because it was them. Yes, that is the best comment I've seen yet. If that was the Green Brigade that did that yesterday, it would be all over the media. All over the media. Green Brigade attack women in street. You know, it would be all over the media. Carly said that's a redneck. It is a redneck. It's completely embarrassing. It is St Johnstone in the first round of the cup. But anyway, who's going to the game today, says Lanky. How many people are going to the game today? Give us your predictions in the comment section if you are going to the game today. Now, when it comes to Matt O'Reilly, yes, the saga is the saga for Matt O'Reilly now coming to an end. The Italians have went out and bought someone else at last. The Italians have come in with small increments of 2 million at a time, who made 5 official bids to Celtic, have went out and bought another midfield player. They went out and spent 20 million on another midfield player, so looks like they have withdrawn from the race. They've withdrawn from the race to sign Matt O'Reilly, which is all good news for Celtic. It was all good news for Celtic. And the fact that I don't think at this stage now, Matt O'Reilly is sick of the nonsense. It has been said. He's sick of this to and fro. And he doesn't. I don't think that Matt O'Reilly wants to leave the club. And I think Celtic are positioning themselves to make sure, look, if you want Matt O'Reilly, it's going to cost you 30 million. And for me, for the first time ever, if we get to the end of this window, and for the first time ever, if we manage to keep off teams that are coming in for one of our best players, when £23 million was dangled in front of the board, previously the board would have snapped up that money. They would have, and let's not deny it, they would have snapped up the money and they would have went, cheerio, Matt, it was nice having you. But I think Celtic are secretly saying, you know, we want to keep Matt. We want to keep him for this Champions League. We want to keep our best players. We want to build the team around them. And if they are saying that behind closed doors, just come out and say it in public, boys. Brendan, just come out and say it in public that you want to build the team around Brendan. You want to bring in these other players that we've been linked with. And make the team better. Anyway, Nico Kuhn, before we talk about this other Celtic transfer news, Celtic are still remaining And there go the fireworks. There we go. It's fiesta time. They let off fireworks at 7 o'clock in the morning, 10 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 9 o'clock at night, and half 2 in the morning. It's the greatest in here. Anyway, Celtic remain on the trail of Owen Beck. We'll see how that one plays out. They want him off the books at Liverpool. And it what really, why the hell did it's broad daylight? It's broad daylight. You can't see fireworks in the daylight. All you hear is the bangs. And anyway, Celtic are on the heels of the 22-year-old from Liverpool, and Celtic did want him at the last transfer window, remember? So it'll be interesting to see if Celtic can get their man. They've also expressed an interest in an Ajax player, who, if we get him, I think it might be quite good, because we've already got one guy who came through the system at Ajax, and that is one and only Nico Kuhn. And Nico Kuhn's been talking to the media, and he says playing Man City and Chelsea in America this pre-season gave us a taste of what we can expect in the Champions League. Celtic's focus is to remain fixed on domestic matters for the moment, as they entertain Hibs this afternoon for a last 16 in the Premier Sports Cup. And we won't need any dodgy refereeing decision this afternoon. We'll just do it on our own terms. There's a piece of silverware that did elude us last term. It was a piece of silverware that would have been nice in the treble, but we didn't get it, and so we'll need to make amends this season. Kuhn admits that he added a hunger. There is an added hunger amongst Celtic players, because this group of Celtic players want to go out and what they want to do, and some of these Celtic players have done it under the previous manager, Ange Postecoglou. But this group of Celtic players and this manager want to go out and make their own piece of history. There's a hunger to claim another domestic treble this time round, says Nico Kuhn. Come on, my son. It wasn't there. There was a lot of motivation in the squad already to do well in these competitions, but there's added motivation as it is the cup that eluded us last year, the boys have said. It's a target that we're all looking to try and achieve, and hopefully we can get the win this afternoon that sets us on the way to hopefully getting to the final. We are feeling good and we're ready for this game. Personally, I am feeling confident. We want another good performance, says Nico Kuhn. We need to bring the same energy to the pitch as we did last weekend against Hibs. But this is a different game. It's a cup tie. It's a one-off. We have to go through. However, we are prepared for whatever comes our way this afternoon. The tie obviously could see Adam either start the game. I think it will. Are you okay there? Fireworks going off? Yeah? Right, lie down. Lie down. Sure, Doug. But anyway, Nico Kuhn, who came through the system at Ajax, didn't get a first team game. Okay, then. Didn't get a first team game at Ajax. He then went to Germany. He went through the youth system at Bayern Munich, and then ended up in Vienna. He was also at RP Leipzig. And it wasn't until he got to Vienna, he got to Rapid Vienna, that he started getting first team football. If we had picked up anyone that come through the Ajax youth system before, you would have said they have to be a good player. Because let's face it, the Ajax youth system does have a reputation for pumping out tremendous young players. Could Ajax be looking at Nico Kuhn the end of this season and saying, damn, that's one that got away? A bit like what Celtic have done with players in the past, letting them go at a certain age, and then they're going to have fantastic careers. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. Owen Beck would be a good signing, says Lee. Matt O'Reilly is here for the season. I think that Matt O'Reilly is here for the season. I think he is here at the end. He's definitely here at the end of this season. We could take McGowan from Dundee. There's still a lot of talk, but would McGowan? You have to look at. There's two options here. Does the player think that he can come in and manoeuvre into that first team? and will he come to sit on the bench? And especially when he's at his first team player, he's captain at Dundee, is he not? So he's an important player to Dundee. Will the guy McGowan be prepared to come and fight for his place? And he knows it's a bigger club. Yes, you're going to win medals and everything, but who would he replace in that Celtic midfield? There is only the three positions, and it's not going to be Callum McGregor because Callum McGregor is your captain. You're going to get starts with him. He might get brought off towards the end of the game, but then is McGowan, is he actually going to sit and go, yeah, I'm going to go with his 10, 15 minutes? Is he comfortable enough to think that, yeah, McGregor's got 2 years left in him? If I come to Celtic now, I could be first team player in 2 years and be captain in 2 years. Maybe that could maybe be in the mindset of the player. I don't know. Um, but the other one is Rio Hatate. And Matt O'Reilly, we've already brought in Paulo Bernardo that looks like he's going to be the direct replacement for Matt O'Reilly. Paulo Bernardo's then fighting in for that midfield position as well. So I know that we need enforcements, but I think when it gets to this stage in that position, it's not one that we're crying out for. We definitely need a left back. There are two players that are linked with the left back position. So we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. And I think before the transfer window closes, slams, smash the window because it slammed it shut. An invincible season would be amazing, says JJ. Yeah, before the window slams shut, I think we've got a little thing, a little live to do. It's another live. It'll be the Champions League. The Champions League draw, which is not a draw this year because we're only drawing certain amounts, and then a supercomputer. Yes, UEFA said a supercomputer. It's not. It's just somebody's Mac. It's not some. It's not some it's guy sitting with a laptop going enter, like pick random. Yeah, they're saying there's a supercomputer. It's not a supercomputer. Goes back to the days where they would like, oh, it's a supercomputer. It's not. It's just fucking. It's a $2,000 Apple Mac. Somebody's sitting in the back in the studio going, press. What button to press? Oops. When the hit enter now, fuck, computer, the supercomputer's burst. I would love to take McGowan from Dundee. Anyway, the mindset would be a massive change by the board. Talking about the mindset, I spoke about the mindset of the board. If they're saying, look, we want 25 to 30 million from Matt O'Reilly. If you're not going to come near that, we do really want 30 million from Matt O'Reilly, but we can get that in add-ons. But I think Brendan has grabbed the board by the cojones. And I think it's fabulous. And if we get to the end of this transfer window and we have retained the services of Matt O'Reilly, you're going to get nobody happier on a video than me. And I think right up to the deadline, I am expecting a massive bid to come in for Matt. But I think Matt is going to go, fuck off. Why wait to this stage? And you could have done it weeks ago. Nah, I'm not interested. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. And Matt knows that he could go for big wages, but I think Matt's not stupid, and he wants to achieve things. If he can achieve a treble this season, and if he can achieve a little bit of success in Europe with Celtic, winning 3 games, for me that's a must. Out of the 8 games, we need to win 3 games. Win 3 games. If Matt O'Reilly can do that, and then it's been worth it. It has been worth it. It has been worth it, and it'll be some turnaround for the board if it does happen. Anyway, let's jump back into the comments. McGowan would play like Paul Hartley. That'd be an interesting one. Could be like a Paul Hartley. Yeah, I could see where that comes. Some youngsters that have been let go to kick up the backside that makes them more determined and better. Yeah, well, there's a lot of youngsters that have left Celtic. The young boy Farouk, where did he go? You could name about half a dozen young players that have left Celtic and that haven't made it. Might buy McGowan to help the Champions League homegrown thing. That is the reason that we've still retained the services of Scott Bain, and I think we will need to buy in another Scottish player because I don't know if you're allowed the 3 travelling goalkeepers in the Champions League. I'm sure it was just 2 because that was the whole reason that we kept him the season before when Ange left. That's the reason that we give him the extended contract when Ange was still here, due to the fact that he came under the Scottish. Now remember, we also lost another player last season that was included for the Champions League, and that was. And if we lose Mikey Johnson, that'll be 3. That'll be 3 players. So we do need to do something when it comes to homegrown talent. Carly says, I Lanky, especially when you already have some. No idea what we're talking about. Alison says, if we get a treble this year, the watch I bought last year will drop in value. Did you buy a Celtic watch? I got a Celtic watch as a present once. It lasted about 4 years and then it went kaput. I took it to a jeweller's to try and get it fixed, and they opened up the insides and they went, "It's cheap shite in the back of it." It's like you can't even get these parts anymore. So yeah. So it now sits in a drawer, doing absolutely nothing. Doing absolutely nothing. He will be Neil Lennon Mark II. I'm reading Carly's comments. Oh, Carly, you're absolutely bonkers this morning. Right, let me see what other Celtic news. Obviously, the Italians have dropped interest in Matt O'Reilly. The Italians have dropped interest in Matt O'Reilly because they went out and spent 20 million on another player. I think they were getting the runaround by Celtic. They have dropped their interest in Matt O'Reilly. They have lost patience after they went in with an offer of £23 million and it was rejected, and instead went for a £17 million player with 4.3 million in add-ons for a 22-year-old Serbian international. Juventus will be able to complete the purchase now of the player that they were after. But yeah, it's all good. Anyway, what have we done this morning? There's only been 918 people on the live so far. 387 people have watched the video. I'm going to go and do another video for the channel, talking about the fact that Stephen Johnson, 29th of the 8th, he's marking it on his calendar. I'll not be holding it to me next year. It was torture. He's stuck in Greece. Anyway, right, that's us done and dusted for this morning. Thank you everyone that has watched the video this morning. We will be back on an hour and 15 minutes before kick-off. Stephen, that's the date for the Champions League draw. Yes, it is the date for the Champions League draw. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day to all the Celtic fans. We are at 18,145 subscribers. Doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel in the past 24